Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Mackenzie Nelson, this is MackPacking, and this is a very exciting video I'm about to do with you guys. If you haven't watched my last video, I couldn't decide on where I wanted my next backpacking trip to be, so I quite literally put some names of some places I was curious of into a hat and pulled out the country that now I'm going to plan how to get there, what to do with you on camera. But of course, now that the hat has decided that I am going to Greece, I now need to plan the whole trip, and I thought that it might be helpful and useful information if I shared some of my kind of like hacks and tips and stuff that I use to help you guys plan your next backpacking trip. I'm gonna walk you through how to book a flight, pick a good hostel, research what to do in that new place that you're going to, packing stuff, everything on camera. So in my last video, when I was choosing of a place I wanted to put into the hat, I had a bit of a criteria of what I was looking for. So you might want to write this list down for you guys, and then you can narrow it down to where your next trip should be. I don't know if you're anything like me, I'm super indecisive and I could literally go anywhere in the world and be happy with it, so it was a really hard decision, and that's why I let the hat choose. My criteria was it had to be budget friendly, backpacker friendly, have some kind of like world packers or volunteering woofing kind of experiences because I need to balance out my budget with working abroad. Fairly easy entry for most passports. I have a US passport, so most of these are good for entry, but just checking some visa requirement. And ideally, I really wanted to go somewhere completely new. Maybe you already have your destination in mind, or maybe you want to pull a destination out of a hat like I did, or maybe you just want to find the cheapest flight to anywhere in the world, and this video is going to help you plan all of that. So after you pick your destination, we're going to get right into planning the trip. Obviously, one of the first things that we're going to look for is a flight. I always start with Skyscanner. This is by far like the cheapest flights that I've found, and honestly sometimes I put from my home airport to anywhere in the world in a flexible month timeline, and then I just go from there. So if I want to fly out from LAX to Athens, Greece anytime in June, I'm going to click flexible trips and a one-way flight anywhere in June. It looks like these flights are kind of expensive, so I see if I could push it back to July. And because again, I'm trying to be flexible with my dates, this one, it shows you the cheapest on July 12th for $188. And look at LAX to Athens for a direct flight, $189. That is really good. So I'll flag this for now and then move on to looking for hostels. So if I was flying to Athens and I got there on July 12th, and let's say I wanted to stay like 3 nights, I'm going to click my accommodation into Hostel World. This is where I book most of my hostels, but I also look through booking.com. I always compare the prices too, because on booking.com I get the Genius discount. So sometimes it evens out and sometimes it's a lot cheaper, so I definitely look at both sites. But I use Hostel World to look at good reviews for the best hostels, because I find that the reviews on Hostel World are a lot better than booking.com. So I'm basically just going to click on a hostel that I think would suit me and read a few of the most recent reviews, and some of them look pretty good, some of them look like okay, so I'll just move on to the next. So in this instance, booking.com looks like it's going to be about $10 cheaper than what it would be on Hostel World, so I'd be stupid not to book with booking.com. So again, I'm going to flag that and move on to the rest of my plans. Like I mentioned before, I love to do a world packers or woofing or some kind of volunteering in most places that I am. I find that this is like the best way to see a place and really get to experience the culture. This time around, I am on a mission to really show you a day in the life volunteering and doing different things. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and click the bell so you could see and get updated about those videos. So this time I'm going to search up World Packers, and I've used them before and love them. I'm going to search in Athens and hope that we can find something cool. I'll do the same thing as I do with hostels. I'll go through, I will read the reviews. That's super important, especially for World Packers. And then I'll start applying to places. Most places actually don't respond back to you, and it has like an expiration date, so I always want to make sure that I follow up on my application. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll stay a few nights in a hostel, and then hopefully I can find some kind of volunteering opportunity, maybe also in a hostel so I could stay social That way I get to really see Athens. Next thing I'll do to plan is set my budget. So here's what I'm at so far. I'm at about $200 for the flight, including like a checked-in bag and how to get to the airport. Accommodation could be free if I volunteer, if not about $80 for 3 nights. And then daily spending is really up to what I want to do. I know that I definitely want to go to the Acropolis, and I know that that ticket price is a little bit higher than what I would ideally love. But if I stick to street food and public transport, I could do probably about $15 to $20 a day for daily activities and food. So I could probably go to Athens on a one-way flight with free accommodation through volunteering and cheap food and cheap activities for less than like $700. That seems like a very solid budget, so I'm gonna write that down and move on to like a rough itinerary brainstorm. Now I try to figure out how long I want to be there, how long I want to be in the whole country. And a place like Greece I don't really know much about, but I personally started to watch a ton of YouTube videos, and that's kind of why I started creating, because I want to be able to share that information with other people. And I read a lot of blogs. I start writing these ideas down and pinning them on my map. I also recently have recruited using ChatGPT to help me plan some trips. I will like plug in what to do in Athens, where to stay in Athens, best restaurants to try in Athens on a budget, things like that. And ChatGPT has come up with quite a few things that I have also added to my list. Before I book a flight and before I book my accommodation, I'm going to message a few Worldpackers hosts and see who responds the quickest and where I could confirm, but it looks pretty steady and I think I will book that flight on July 12th. And now getting into the nitty-gritty of planning a trip is preparing for the actual trip. You already booked your flight, you booked your first few nights accommodation, you kind of have a rough itinerary or things that you want to do, or kind of created a little bucket list for yourself. But now we got to look at visas, travel insurance, packing, all that kind of good stuff. So here's a list of those kind of like admin things, I call them, that I do before every trip. I restart my travel insurance using Safety Wing. I look up if I need any visa, and for Athens, I do not. It is visa free for 3 months. I look to see if I need any kind of vaccine or medication. And again, for Athens, I think I'm fine. I plan out what kind of weather I'll be in, so what I know I need to pack. I'm going to talk about this in my packing video, but please try not to buy brand new things for a trip. Use what you already have. Use the deodorant that you have at home. You could find another deodorant there if you need. Same with clothing. Don't buy new things for your trip. Just bring what you have from home. This will cut down costs a lot. I also kind of look up the language, a few phrases, or at least download a language app, as well as download any offline map. I also notify my bank cards that I'm going to be out of the country for X and Y amount of time, and I lock in an eSIM plan. I have started to use Airalo, I think is how you pronounce it, and I love these eSIMs. You could press a start date on your eSIM, buy it from home, and then when you get there, you already have the data. It is so convenient. Here's my little checklist that I run through before every trip. Feel free to pause and screenshot. These things are very important, so make sure that you even look into them, research them a little bit, and know what you're getting yourself into. The next thing I want to talk about, which I feel like nobody ever talks about, but is like the offline prep essentials. Download Google Maps offline for your arrival city. So I could go on Google Maps and I could select a big portion of Athens or even Greece in general and download those maps offline. This means that when I'm there, I already have the map downloaded, and if my data for some reason isn't working or I can't find Wi-Fi, I know how I'm going to be able to walk to the hostel or find Wi-Fi at a cafe or something like that because I already have the maps downloaded. While we're on maps, I also bookmark a few key spots, some hostels, the bus station, the airport. I kind of look at my route from the airport to the hostel. I also love to find a cafe near my hostel, so I have that ready just in case I want a coffee as soon as I get there, because most times than not, I always look for a coffee is like the first thing I do. Obviously, a few more things that you might already know to do is download some music, some podcasts, maybe some Netflix shows or something for your long travel day to get to that city, or even when you're there, just download any of your favorite content. Okay, a few apps that you should have downloaded. This is going to be a quick fire moment. Google Translate with the local language downloaded offline. Maps.me or Google Maps offline, download those maps as as well. Wise or Revolut. I use Revolut and have loved my card. This is a great international banking card, but I could talk about more of this technical stuff too in a later video if you want. Download a currency converter. I use this XE app and it is like a spot on conversion. It is a great app to use. Make sure that you have WhatsApp downloaded so that you could contact people back home using Wi-Fi. You could also call on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is just a great messaging app to use, but you do need Wi-Fi to access that. Other things I download is like Roam to Rio, Omeo, Flixbus, those kinds of apps, so I know how to transit through the country or countries that I want to visit. Every time I plan a trip or plan a trip really fast, kind of like this one, I have to remind myself it's not going to be perfect. There will be missed buses, weird food, maybe some tears, but that's the adventure. Getting all of this experience in culture and just a whole new mindset and perspective of a whole new place that you have never stepped foot in is just so exhilarating. But I think it's really important to have these like realistic expectations of the place that you're going to and just travel and backpacking in general, because it's not all glamorous and it is actually really hard, gets really lonely at some times. You're totally stepping out of your comfort zone all the time, especially if you're alone. But that's where the growth comes from the most, and you will have unbelievable experiences once you step out of your comfort zone. Just taking a moment to have like a mindset reset, prep yourself mentally for what's to come. In the next video, I'll be packing my bag for this next adventure of mine. I haven't mentioned before, but Athens will just be a starting point. Now I get to explore so many more options and where I want to go next. I do plan to go for a long time, so Athens is just a starting point. But in that next video, I get to just pack with you guys for this next big journey. And I think right after this video, I will be booking my flight and accommodation and all the things to Athens. So I have to really get it together with that checklist of mine and my packing, and I will see you guys in Athens. Drop any tips if you've ever been to Athens, because I'm so excited and very clueless. So give me any tips or travel hacks of your own, and I can't wait to take you guys on this next journey of mine. If you have any questions at all, please let me know in the comments. And I hope that this video was useful and helpful for you to plan your next backpacking trip. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.